Hi there. This is a video which I didn't plan to make, but it's a tribute to my dad. I call my dad Acha. Call our dad Acha, and my son calls me Acha. So yeah, I'd like to make this short video about my dad, Acha. My dad was a second generation Malaysian. His father, my grandfather, was from Kerala, India. He was born in 1944. I don't know if you're thinking this is videos about depression. Well, it's not, but I'm just sharing this because it has to do with how my clinical depression began when he passed away in 2014, just 4 months and 1 day short of turning 70. It's really hard for me to sum up this man in one video, but I just want to tell you that today he would have turned 75. It's been 5 years since he's gone. It's been 5 years since my clinical depression started to surface. It's kind of bittersweet. I'm trying to remember someone I love, someone a lot of us love, my family, my mom, my sister, and yet still feel like it was just yesterday that he left us. To those who know Mr. Nair, I'm sure you have a lot of fond memories about him. Rest assured that the stories he told us to his family, we still remember it, and we thank you very much for all your kind wishes and your prayers for him. A lot of you were very supportive of my family during the days just after he passed on, and your support and your love, something that we will always remember. And I'm sure he would have been very proud. He speaks very fondly about his ex-students, his former students, his former colleagues, his friends, former schoolmates from Ipoh and Gopeng. Well, our family name is Nair, so it's very weird that everyone calls him Mr. Nair, even though he has a first name. From what I heard, from what he told me anyway, he was one of the brightest students back then, and he had, it was a big deal that he actually got a scholarship to further studies at University Malaya. If you can imagine, back in the early 60s, that's a big deal. But he turned it down because he had to support his siblings. He was the second of 6 siblings because he stayed back to get a job as a teacher and support his family. His younger siblings, my uncles and my auntie, they all migrated to KL and led pretty successful lives. But he stayed back in his hometown, and as a result, I also grew up in that hometown, Kampar. Well, actually, he's from Gopeng, but yeah, Kampar and Gopeng is about the same thing. In some ways, I'm blessed that I actually grew up in the place where he grew up. Of course, my mom too. That pretty much sums up who he is. He always put others before him. Even when he got really good opportunities, he would give them up in a heartbeat if it meant that he has to help someone else. And it's just too many things for me to share about him. I can't cram it up, but I'll just pick a few, the ones that I can really sum up as the things I remember best about my dad. When I was 5, he gave me this talk about, when you grow up, you're gonna face hurdles in life, and a measure of how successful you are in your life is how well you handle these hurdles. Being 5 years old, I was just thinking of hurdles as things you jump over as you run. He's the kind who actually thinks that you understand these things early on in life. He's always thinking very far ahead, and yeah, it took me many years until I understood what he meant by conquering hurdles. While he was a teacher, he used to give tuition classes after his work. Little did I know that quite a number of the students in his tuition class were actually given free classes by him. He actually gave free tuition classes to those who can't afford. And it's not to say that he was actually charging a bomb for it in the first place. I mean, he was only charging like 12 ringgit for a whole month for 3 subjects. I mean, like, what was the whole point of doing it? He was doing it because of his passion to teach and to pass on knowledge. He was also an avid fisherman. I remember growing up always wanting to join him on his sea fishing trips, but he will never take me because he always saw me as his little boy. I mean, he could hang out with my cousin who's like 2 years younger than me and have a beer with him, but not with me because I'm the little boy, which is his son. 2004, I finally had one chance to actually go on a sea fishing trip with him. It's the only one I ever went with him. And I'm glad that I had that opportunity to, join him. Once, when I was 15, I remember I was behaving a bit like a spoiled brat. Kind of like a spoiled brat. Funny thing was, he just asked me to follow him in the car. And he took me to this furthest place I could. He took me to this place where he was going to send some goods. It was just out of favor that he was sending it there. It was somewhere near the jungle. It was a TV that we were helping to send. And he made me carry the TV up a slope into the jungle. And I was like, are you sure this is the place? And then he was like, just follow. And, sorry, it wasn't a jungle, it was a plantation. So in the middle of this plantation was was like a one-room hut. And the electricity was actually, I don't know, it was pulled from somewhere. I could see the wire coming from really far away. And in this hut, there was a young couple with a baby. It was very shocking to me that, to see poverty of that level. This man who lived there with his wife and his newborn child had only enough to pay for a small little hut. And for him to actually purchase a TV was a big deal. And it was like, to us now, maybe it's not really a big deal, but for them, back then in 1992, it was a really big deal. So my dad made me carry that TV to his house and fix it for him and teach him how to use it. And it was a very, very humbling and sobering experience. And then my dad asked me, are you grateful for what you have? Yeah. Don't forget, there are others. There are many who are less fortunate who need our help. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he can feed himself for his life. So I'm just paraphrasing, but he kept teaching me that. I must say, I never really got it until he passed away. That whatever I have learned, whatever I have been given, I've been blessed with, I mean, even my other family members and such, he sacrifices to give us a good life. For him, that was his reward. His reward was seeing others succeed. And I loved that man for that. Maybe at that time I didn't really see it. I was always asking him, why are you always helping others and not yourself? Can't you help yourself first instead of helping others? Now when I see or meet the people whose life he has touched, whose lives he has helped, I see what his reward was. He may not have lived to see 70, but I'm sure he's lived many lifetimes given what he has achieved. With me as a dad, he wasn't really very loving. He didn't really show it, but there was one night I guess I was 10 years old, and then I just moved into my own room. Yeah, he played cool, it's like, yeah, you got your own room now. There was one night I pretended to be sleeping because he just walked in, and he actually put a blanket over me and he left the room. I was like, wow, is that my dad? He barely wants to talk to me, he always keeps that distance, that father son distance. But deep down, he's a real soft hearted guy. And because of the distance that we had, a lot of people thought that, yeah, we were not very close, me and him. The truth cannot be further from this, you know. The day before he went for his operation, he actually his walked from his bed. It was quite a distance to the waiting area where I was doing my work while waiting for him to go for his operation. And he actually came all the way out there to have a talk. We had a good half an hour talk. This was 2014, and he was asking, "So, have they found a plane yet?" MH370. I said, "No, they haven't found a plane yet." How's work? How's your son? How's your family? What are your plans? It was a very good father and son talk, and I was glad that I actually turned off my computer to talk to him. It's a conversation that I'll cherish for until till the day I die. And I have to make sure that my turn to go is not something I decide to honor him. My sharing of this, my experience in this channel, yeah, I think I'm trying to continue the tradition of doing good. I hope. On behalf of everyone who's still alive here on this world, happy birthday, Mr. Nayan. Acha, my father. Rest in peace.